then on the flip side, talking about the Gophers, like, what's the move here? Like, a lot of people are speculating about, do you convince Yzerman or Hendrickson or another guy to join early? Do you go steal Bump from Vermont now that they got that whole kerfuffle with the coach? Like, what's the move here?
I'm sure there'll be something, but I don't really know. I mean, they're still going to be a really good team. Like, you've obviously still got Snuggerud. You've obviously still got guys coming in too. Oliver Moore. You've also got Sam Renzel, the Blackhawks first round pick from 2 years ago. They're still going to be a good team. They've just obviously had some major losses here. So they're still going to be a good team. It's not like this is it, but
no, but they were basically a no shit number one team entering the season. Now they're probably a top 5 team, but they're probably not holding on to that like indisputed number one spot, right?
Right. So, I mean, so like, again, in my head, you're still a top 5 team in the country. Being a number one team in the country all fucking year long didn't end up panning out anyways. Like, it's not like there's some like giant like fall from grace now where it's like, oh shit, now we're fighting.
And that's not what it's about.
Before, right?
And I know
no,
you
I know
know
you
that,
mean though.
But it's just like there's a clear drop off from being the team to you're in the shuffle for the top 5-ish, and it's just crazy that one player makes that big of a difference. But the people that think the sky is falling, like, calm the fuck down. Yeah. This is still a sick team. Whether you find someone else to come in, whether that ends up being Oliver Moore for the first line center or the fucking menace, Rhett Pitlick, just goes to town and him and Jimmy Snuggerud just own everybody. I'm up for any of it.
Pitlick might go nuts. Like, he might
I'm
just
so
go
excited, dude.
all the way off.
He is the only person I'm happy for in this whole scenario. I hope he plays first line center, and I hope that he absolutely torches everyone, especially after they made his incredible goal against Michigan, the number 4 goal of the year in college hockey.
That was insane. Like, that goal was legitimately, I mean, that's got to be in my lifetime, like, at all levels outside of like the stupid like leagues that are getting filmed like a camcorder where like guys can't skate and someone pulls off like a Michigan goal. I don't care about those. Like, that was a top 5 goal I've ever seen. Not just because of how sick it was, but it was against Michigan, a big fucking game, and he just goes full on Showtime. Like, that was legitimately unbelievable. The fact they called it the number 4 goal of the year, oh my god. God damn it. Damn it.
Sean Cosgrove, you know how to throw Z off of his game.
But anyways, the fact they called it the 4th best goal of college hockey this year is a disgrace.
What do we think here, Z? Does Jimmy Clark's plan change now with this news?
I wouldn't think so.
All right. Well, that was easy.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he's a guy to be like, hey, do you want to come now? I don't think it would change much if his plans go back to where he's playing before. But I mean, I don't know. He could easily play, like, for sure. I wouldn't have any doubts that he could play in college hockey as early as next year. Like, I was actually surprised that he wasn't already. So who knows? Maybe. Either way, like, he's in a good spot. Like, he's either going to tear it up in the USHL again, or he could go and decide to end up being in Minnesota and then be more than an adequate college hockey player. I don't know if that, like, I don't think it necessarily makes a huge change in his plans, though.
And do you see an Yzerman or a Hendrickson being realistic possibilities to be pulled in early? Or is that kind of a pipe dream?
I mean, if one of them was going to, I'd probably say Hendrickson, just because he's got the year on Yzerman. Like,
yeah,
there's no reason for Yzerman to rush either. Like, that's really throwing him into a whole other element. I mean, he's certainly good enough to play, but yeah. I mean, if one of them was going to, I feel like Hendrickson would be able to kind of slide into college. You're also not expecting him to put up numbers like you're expecting Yzerman to when he goes to college. So if one was going to, I'd probably put money on Hendrickson at that point. But again, like, at the same time, like, is that the guy's like, hey, now that Logan Cooley's gone, we have to bring in Like you know what I mean? It's like just completely different
you just
players.
don't know what the conversation was leading into this year, where it's like, hey, there's not really a great spot for you right now. Why don't you go dominate the USHL and then come in the following year when spots open up?
Right.
Now Cooley's gone. It's like, so maybe you can come. I don't really know. That's speculation, but everyone obviously on Twitter, like,
this guy's
falls on this. Like, oh, we got to make Yzerman come now. And it's like, Jess Myers has already posted, like, source from Yzerman, like, no, he will not be with the Gophers this year. I don't know if that's ideal for his development in general. I don't know that that's, like, something the Gophers want to rush him into. Like you said, like, he's good. He's going to do his thing. But Hendrickson, I think, is a very interesting option.
Yeah, for sure. He's a fucking good player, man. That was the one I was fired up when the Bruins drafted him.
Oh, I was there. I recall this.
Yes.
Got it. I mean, you think, too, he is a Minnesota boy. There is the possibility of winning a home national championship. Like, I don't know. I'm starting to, like, convince myself that Hendrickson's going to happen. We'll see.
You know, the good thing I think it's a win-win for him either way. Like, so I wonder how much, or well, a whole lot of like influence is going to come from Darby. Like, fortunately, that's a pretty good guy to have in your corner, like bounce these like ideas off of, and so I'm sure whatever decision he makes, I'm sure it'll be for good reason, and I'm sure it'll be the right one for him. But again, you go rip it up with USNTDP or go play for the University of Minnesota. Like, you can't really lose there. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
He's going to be in a pretty good spot either way. But that you're right though. That the more I think about it, that is a very interesting one. And like I said before, that would make, I think, a whole lot more sense than just throwing Cole Yzerman into college hockey at 17 years old.
We'll see.
He still breaks my brain because he's from the town over from me, and yet he ended up at Shattuck, and now he's going to Minnesota. So I feel like there's not a whole lot of guys, especially the upper echelon of like junior hockey or like youth hockey, that end up going from Boston to Minnesota and vice versa.
Very, very uncommon.
Yeah. But I mean, good for him. It worked out. It's a couple of years ago. He put up 160 points in 40 games with Shattuck. So, that'll work. Whatever. It's fine.
What's the over-under on how many times you mentioned that this year while we talk about the 2024 class?
What's funny is I bring it up like almost every time I talk about it, but I like actually do forget. And then sometimes I will, I just like am on his page or whatever, like cutting clips. And then like, oh yeah, no, I've known that for such a long time. I bring it up every time I talk. That's how broken my brain is, though.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's just a funny stat line. It's like 160 fucking points. Anyway, we can move on.